can't believe I'm here, playing for my life tonight.
I can't believe I'm here, I made it, I'm playing for my life tonight. I'm a shining light. I can't believe I'm here. I can't believe I'm here. Playing for our life tonight. Yeah, I'm playing for our life tonight.
Welcome, friends, to Kingdom Driven Sports. Thanks for joining me today for this Thursday night recap, where we're going to be talking about the Thursday night football game between the Washington Commanders and the Green Bay Packers. It was a game in Green Bay, again, that took place between two playoff teams from last year. I was a little surprised that it wasn't closer or more of a battle, but the more I think about it, it does kind of make sense. If you didn't watch the game, the Green Bay Packers beat the Washington Commanders 27-18, but it was one of those games that felt a little bit more lopsided than what the score indicates. It just felt like the Packers were in control of that game from beginning to end, and the Commanders seemed to struggle to find any sense of chemistry and ability to really get their offense going. They just seemed to struggle, and their defense seemed to also not have it all together. And this Green Bay offense, on the other hand, looked like it was very efficient, very well run by Jordan Love, and he just seemed to be calm, composed, and ready to go in the bright lights of Thursday night football. And it just did not seem as much of a matchup, an even matchup, as I was initially expecting it to be. One of the people that really stood out on the offense was the tight end, Tucker Kraft. He had a great night, career night. He caught six balls for 124 yards, including one for a touchdown. And then the defense looked sharp. Micah Parsons seems to be extra motivated ever since he was traded from the Dallas Cowboys to the Green Bay Packers. And he was just a force on the field. The defense overall for the Packers just seemed to prevent Jaden Daniels from really getting going and finding a rhythm, which helped limit the Washington Commander offense overall. They did manage to score 18 points, but that really isn't very many when you consider how high-powered their offense usually is. And really, in today's NFL, 18 points is a pretty poor showing. The Packers, they were in control for most of this game. Jordan Love just seemed to be, like I said, calm, cool, collected, had 292 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and just was able to run that offense. They did lose Reed, one of their wide receivers. He wasn't able to come back in the game, but was like next man up because it didn't seem like they missed a beat. And so Green Bay's looking really strong, especially if you consider their performance against the Detroit Lions last week. They have 2 pretty impressive and convincing victories over 2 teams that were in the playoffs last year. One of them making it all the way to the NFC Championship, and the Washington Commanders. Now, I know every year is different, and usually every year is special and unique in its own way, and it's a bad idea to try to connect years and say, oh, what resulted in last year has an effect on this year because of moves in free agency, rookie players coming in. But I still think it's impressive that this Green Bay Packer team was able to just have their way with the Detroit Lions in week 1, and now the Washington Commanders on Thursday Night Football in a short week, and really just show that they are a team to be reckoned with. They're going to be there, should everyone remain healthy, and that's the hope. They're going to be there at the end, fighting and competing for a chance to win a Super Bowl. I think the acquisition of Micah Parsons is really paying dividends for the Packers. He is a genuine talent. I love that they compared him to Derek Thomas. Derek Thomas was a Kansas City Chief, a linebacker back in the 90s. He unfortunately passed away far too soon, but he was a game wrecker, and they compared his body type to Micah Parsons and their playing styles, and it was interesting to see. I really enjoyed that they did that. And so I'm sure if you're a Dallas fan, you don't like to hear that. I'm sure that you are still upset over the Luka Doncic trade, and now to have Micah Parsons no longer in Dallas as well, and that's got to be tough. But I have to say, I think he played a pretty big role in the defense, forcing Daniels to have to make quick decisions. A lot of the times, not great decisions, just cause him to have his throws be off. And so I just think this defense, even though even though Micah Parsons wasn't there on every down, because I think he's still getting acclimated. I'm not sure about his back, how that's doing, but he definitely did more than enough on the plays that he was in to help cause disruption for the Washington offense and to really help them take that next step to hopefully compete for a Super Bowl. And they're looking like one of the NFC heavyweights. Like I said in one of my previous videos, I wouldn't be surprised if this trajectory continues, if they are playing the Eagles in the NFC Championship to try to get to the Super Bowl. That's how good they look. And I know it's early in the season, that we shouldn't jump to conclusions, but it's hard not to when they look as good as they do so early on. Now, like I said, unfortunately, Jaden Reed had to leave the game with a shoulder injury. Hopefully he's okay and that he can come back. But it must have been comforting for Packers fans and the coaches to see that their offense still clicked pretty well even without Reed. And other players were able to step up and help their offense really kick it into gear and score when it was needed. And that, along with the defensive play of the Green Bay Packers holding the Washington Commanders to 18 points, helped seal the victory for them. Now, for the Commanders, what went wrong for them, their offense just, like I said, couldn't get clicking. They really didn't run the ball very well. There was a lot of pressure on Jaden Daniels, and when you're facing a pass rush like that of the Green Bay Packers, it's tough. I mean, you have to be precise. You have to be ready for that. You have to be sharp, and Washington was none of those things. They weren't able to convert on many third downs, and so many of their drives ended pretty quickly, meaning that their defense had to come back on the field, meaning that their defensive players were getting tired. And anytime that it looked like they might gain some momentum, the Packers defense would make a key play to either stymie that drive or to just make Jaden Daniels uncomfortable. Now, the final score, like I said, it looks like it wasn't too bad, but I think it really looks better because the Commanders were able to get a late touchdown with a 2-point conversion. So it looks better than what it actually was. I think there's some work there for the Commanders to do. One of the things I'm wondering if because Terry McLaurin held out for a bit and wasn't in all of training camp, if there's a little bit of a chemistry issue that needs to be addressed, and hopefully they can address that and gel a little bit better as the season progresses. But right now they do not look like the Washington Commanders of last year, which, again, it's early in the season, so there's no need to panic, but definitely there are some things that need to be addressed. Their offensive line needs to be better, to give Jaden Daniels some more time. Now, I know they were facing an elite pass rush in Green Bay, but it almost seemed like many times Jaden Daniels didn't have almost any time at all. He was scrambling almost immediately to try to extend plays, to find open receivers. And then when he had to throw on a run, it wasn't very accurate. And it just really, the Commanders got in their own way a lot in that sense, and just had a hard time getting their playmakers into space to try to create plays, get first downs. And they just couldn't get it going. Now, I believe they have a great team still. I think they can still make a deep playoff run if they can gel and bring it together. But they're going to have to address some of these issues. They're going to have to really overcome this adversity. Because this is really 2 weeks in a row. They were fortunate in week 1 that they played the Giants, who are a gigantic no pun intended. They are just a mess. And I mean, a victory over the Giants it's nothing to write home about, because the Giants are in such disarray, along with like the Saints and the Dolphins right now. So that game against New York wasn't as impressive, I think, as it should have been. And then that really showed tonight as well, the flaws that the Commanders have showed tonight against a very good Green Bay team. Now, again, it's early in the year. This adversity, they can overcome it. They have time to. But they're going to need to definitely take some steps to be a little bit more cohesive in how they run their offense, their defense. I mean, it wasn't terrible, but I think a lot of it had to do because they were on the field for so long. Their offense couldn't sustain drives, so they were on the field a lot. And when that happens, you get tired. And then when you get tired, you start not making the best choices in regards to, in this case, football, the football sense. But on the other hand, got to hand it to the Packers. What a great and impressive win. They look like they're already clicking on all cylinders, and I doubt that they are, yet it looks like they are. It looks like they're playing in November, December instead of September, and that's got to be very optimistic for Packers fans, because they look like a definite playoff team. I think it's only going to get better, which is kind of a scary thought. It'll be a scary thought for the rest of the NFC. And again, I think it's going to be, if the trajectory continues, I think it's going to be the Eagles and the Packers really fighting it out in the NFC Championship. I can't really think of other teams right now in the first week and then the first game of the second week. Besides the Packers and even the Eagles, I don't think they have looked as sharp as the Packers have. But we'll see the rest of these week 2 games, how that goes. And I'm looking forward to seeing these matchups, to see if some of these teams that didn't look so great in week 1 address some of these issues and come out with a better performance in week 2. And I also want to see if some of these teams in week 1 that did have good performances are able to keep that momentum up. But good game for the Packers, and it's definitely some question marks for the Commanders. I'm looking forward to see how these two teams progress throughout the NFL season, what will happen. I think both of them will be okay, but I do think that there is a tier gap between the Commanders and the Packers, just based off this game that we watched tonight. with the Packers being in the upper echelon of the NFC and the Commanders working their way up to be there. Anyways, I appreciate you guys joining me tonight for this recap of Thursday Night Football. I'm hoping to do more of these, but I wanted to definitely make this video and just give my thoughts on the game and what I saw, so the things I liked, and then some of the concerns I have, especially for, in this case, the Washington Commanders. But until next time, God bless you. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing you guys again. Bye-bye.